The Conor Benn, I'm washed up and finished, but there is a lot that I still have left in the tank, regardless of what people may think.
Chris Eubank Jr. has finally responded to Conor Benn's intense training footage, and the tension is rising fast. Roy Jones Jr. weighed in, acknowledging Benn's undeniable power, but pointing out that Eubank holds the advantage in size and ring IQ. Roy believes Chris can outbox Benn in the early rounds, but he's quick to warn. One slip-up, and Conor's power could change everything. This isn't just a fight. It's chess with dynamite.
Very good fight. Conor has punch and power chances. Chris is the bigger guy, so you give Chris the advantage going in because he's the bigger guy. But Conor does have exceptional punch and power, so it's going to be a great fight. I think Chris should win the fight. I think Chris should outbox him, outsmart him, but he will have to be smart early because...
Roy Jones Jr. had some key advice for Conor Benn. Don't let the extra weight throw off your fundamentals. While moving up in weight might increase his power, Roy warns that abandoning his core skills could be a costly mistake. The message is clear. Bring your fundamentals with you, or risk losing the edge that got you here.
Take your fundamentals with you. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can't take your fundamentals, you can't go nowhere. If you can take your basic foundation and your basic fundamentals, it all stays the same. A little more weight just means a little bit more power. But if you don't take the fundamentals with you, a little more weight will mean a little less power. So I advise him to take his fundamentals with him.
Frank Warren kept it real. The biggest fights aren't always just about skill. They're about history, hype, and the story behind them. That's what makes them box office gold. But when it comes to the actual matchup, he's not entirely sold. Can Conor Benn really handle giving up that much weight? Warren's hopeful, but far from convinced.
About the best fight in the best. That's not the best fight in the best, but it's a fight. There's a demand for it from the public because of their history. So that's why it's selling so well and doing so much business. How do I see it playing out? I don't know if Conor can give away the weight. I don't know.
Dev Sani is watching the weigh-in closely, and he thinks Chris Eubank Jr.'s toughest challenge might come before the opening bell, making weight and rehydrating right. He knows Conor Benn is the smaller man, but brings relentless aggression, and Dev's convinced Benn will come out swinging, hunting for an early knockout. The real question is, will Eubank have the energy and stamina to weather that early storm and drag it into the later rounds? Dev's not picking sides, but he'll definitely be watching.
They look like at the weigh-in, and even then he's got to make a weight afterwards, doesn't he? He's got a rehydration thing. I think a lot of this feels like it depends on how comfortable Chris Eubank Jr. is at the weight that they're going to end up fighting at, and that's where it kind of lies for me. Conor Benn is smaller, but he's very, very aggressive, and he'll be looking to just try and knock out Eubank as quickly as possible. And I think it's about, can Eubank, does he have the energy resource to kind of weather the storm and see Benn in the second half of the fight? That's kind of where it lies for me. I don't know, but I'll be tuned in.
Chris Eubank Jr. isn't fazed by the whispers about age catching up to him at 35. He knows Conor Benn sees him as past his prime, but Eubank isn't having it. He's made it clear. He's far from done and still has plenty in the tank. With major platforms like Saudi Arabia's Riyadh season and support from influential backers like Al Sheikh, Eubank sees fresh doors opening. To him, this isn't the end of the road. It's just the beginning of a new chapter in his career.
As in, have you got enough time to achieve what you want to achieve?
Absolutely. I'm 35 years old, and according to Conor Benn, I'm washed up and finished, but there is a lot that I still have left in the tank, regardless of what people may think. And that, coupled with the opportunities that Riyadh season, Saudi, Turkey Al Sheikh are the opportunities that these outfits are giving to fighters now. Absolutely, I've got plenty of time to continue on my own path.
Carl Frampton thinks it might be time for Chris Eubank Jr. to move up to 168 balls, hinting that cutting down to 160 is starting to wear on him. Even as a boxing purist, Frampton admits the buzz around Eubank versus Conor Benn has him fired up. He's expecting pure chaos during fight week, and honestly, he's here for every second of the drama.
Eubank stay at, I think 160 is hurting him now. I would like to see him fight at 168. But the appeal of this fight is massive. It's something that, I mean, it's even got my attention. Like, and I see myself as a boxing purist, but I can't wait for fight week. I think there's going to be chaos. And then
Troy Williamson, who shared rounds with Chris Eubank Jr in sparring, is pumped for the Eubank versus Conor Benn showdown. Not just as a fighter, but as a fan. He's backing Eubank to win, citing his size, strength, and experience against higher-level opponents. Troy also pointed out that since the PED scandal, Benn hasn't looked the same. The explosiveness and knockout power seem to have faded. A year ago, he might have leaned toward Benn, but now that it's a level playing field, he's all in on Eubank.
He's got the big fight with Conor Benn coming up. How do you think that's going to go?
I'm really excited as a fan, but if I was to pick a winner, I'd go with Eubank.
What's up?
And I think he's been in with the better caliber of opponents. He's bigger, he's obviously stronger. I think Conor Benn got not the same fight since he got caught with performing and enhancing drugs in his system. I don't think he's the same fight. He hasn't got the same explosiveness, not knocking people out no more. So if you asked me last year, I would have probably went with Conor Benn. But obviously now, on a level playing field.
Chris Eubank Jr is looking absolutely shredded ahead of his clash with Conor Benn, showing he's taken his training to the next level. With a focus on strength and endurance, the message is clear. He's coming to dominate. Tieran Bradley, who sparred with both men, believes this fight isn't just about size or speed. It's about who delivers when it counts. Eubank might be the bigger man, but Benn's speed and power make him a real threat. With both fighters carrying the weight of their family legacies, Bradley expects fireworks, but won't pick a winner, because on fight night, anything can happen. Barry, meanwhile, sees this as one of the biggest fights in UK boxing history, fueled by the fierce rivalry between their fathers. He's backing Benn, believing the younger fighter's hunger to prove himself after overcoming past setbacks could be the difference. While he sees it as a close, evenly matched contest, Barry thinks Benn's power might just be enough to overcome Eubank's size advantage. Harlem Eubank believes Chris Eubank Jr holds a clear edge over Conor Benn, particularly when it comes to experience and the level of competition he's faced. While he acknowledges that the weight difference could present some challenges, Harlem is confident that Chris's boxing IQ, skill set, and all-around ability are on a different level compared to Benn.
But Conor has spite in his hands. He's quick. He's not boiling himself down. So you know what I mean. We could sit here and talk about all the points he's going to make. Either fighter going to win the fight, but we are prize fighters at the end of the day. So who's going to show up on the night, and I think that's what it'll come down to.
You're looking forward to being there for the fight, and do you have a prediction?
No prediction. I know both fighters, and I think that both of them are going to show up on the night, and I think we're going to be in for an absolute treat. I think it really does display the power of the legacy build that Senior and Nigel Benn.
Izzy Astov sees the upcoming clash between Conor Benn and Chris Eubank Jr as a tightly matched battle. While he respects Eubank's superior career accomplishments, he believes Conor's hunger to prove himself could tip the scales. Echoing Ricky Hatton's sentiment, as he thinks that extra drive might be the X factor. Still, he acknowledges that Eubank's size advantage is no small thing. For Izzy, the rivalry feels raw and real. And it's that intensity that makes this fight so exciting.
But I want to ask you, but at the end of the month, obviously, big fight. Eubank Jr takes on Conor Benn. Well talked about, well documented. Where are you on it?
I think it's going to be a massive fight. I think it's arguably one of the biggest fights ever to take place in England. The personalities, the backstory between the dads, everything works to make this humongous. We could have sold 500,000 tickets. I think I'm with Conor Benn on this. I think he's gone through more than enough in his life, which has now been completely exonerated. What a waste of 2 years of a young man's life. He's got a point to prove, but Eubank is the bigger man. So I see it as a 50-50 fight, and I believe that Conor Benn can knock out.
However, as he is critical of some of the controversial moments leading up to the fight, particularly the egg incident, which he feels crossed a line. While he doesn't condone actions like that, he still believes the fight will generate massive attention. It's shaping up to be a sellout, filled with history, fierce competition, and plenty of drama.
I think Chris is leaps and bounds ahead of Conor. His experience, the guys he's been in with, take away the weight, because Chris is obviously going to be disadvantaged in there with the weight as well. But just ability, boxing skill set is on a complete